In the last video, I broke out the one-piece fiberglass front end in order to build the footwell. In this video, I'm breaking it out again, but this time we're going to fit it to the bug body. Welcome back to the garage, guys. I'm Damien. This is the Binder Builder. I know in a previous video I talked about possibly finishing up the pedals and then mounting the seats, but Charlie, the guy who actually sold me the bug, he became available to help me fit up the front clip, and I'm going to take that opportunity while I have it available. Not to mention, he also does body work on bugs. So the chances of him being able to help me put this thing on and knowing how to do it is pretty high. It was really surprising to me that it was actually the first one he ever did. But since he knows bugs and knows how to do body work on them, I'm going to call it a win, and we're going to tackle this thing today. That said, let's get into this. Now, if there's anything I've learned about Arkansas, is if you leave anything in Arkansas too long, it's going to start growing things. And sure enough, this front clip started to become a chia pet, growing moss everywhere it could. So my first step was to give it a good washing before Charlie showed up. And wouldn't you know, as soon as I got it done, Charlie arrived. Impeccable timing. Now I remember watching a Sam and Nate video when they're put on a similar front end, actually the exact same front end, on Nate's Baja Bug. And they use this really cool little template style thing where they could draw out the contours of the front cowl area of the bug body and then trim the front end to make it fit on it. So in order to not look like a complete idiot, I went ahead and rewatched that video. And while it didn't have that many details, I got enough to give me some direction on where to start. So I ended up bringing out the construction paper yet again and made my own template. I made my template by actually pressing down on the paper and then just simply marking where the body lines are on the construction paper. And after we traced those out, we went ahead and cut along the line, and that gave us the template for the front end. Then holding the template up, we moved the front clip in as close as we could to the drip rail. And then we let the template rest on top of the fiberglass. Once we were satisfied the clip was as center as we could make it, I dropped a self-tapping screw into the metal below the clip. This will keep it from moving off center. And to be double sure nothing would move on us, we secured the sides, even though they weren't exactly where they were needed to be. Then using a Sharpie again, we marked the shape onto the fiberglass. Figuring that the front clip might actually move back a touch, we moved the original mark back a little bit and trimmed a 1/4 inch off of that template and remarked the front clip. And after removing the self-tapping screws, we moved the front clip out for its first trimming. I used a cutoff wheel on my grinder to cut the shallow line. We can always cut more if needed, but putting material back, it's a little more difficult. Then Charlie and I reinstalled the clip to see how we did. All right, first cut, not too bad. It's gotta do some serious work there. Glad I didn't cut too much there, because you can see it's not as sharp as it looked like it was gonna be. But once I get that out, it might go down a little more. We'll be able to match that body line just a skosh. Oh, by the way, this is Charlie. Charlie, I kind of surprised him. I didn't tell him I was going to put him on camera, but that's Charlie. He is the guy who sold me this money trap, so he's to blame. But yeah, he's here to help with this because he knows how to do stuff like this, and I obviously don't. So anyway. That's next up. We're going to cut that out, see if we can get that to sit a little more. I did put a self-tapping screw here, and self-tapping screw there, just to hold it down. Now we're going to trim a little more, see if we get better fitment. But anyway, onward. With that, we took inventory and remarked the cut lines. The cool thing about acetone is that it's like a magic eraser for Sharpie marks. This way, I won't get confused about which marks I need to trim. We trimmed little bits at a time until we got the fitment we wanted. It may seem like a drawn out process, but it actually went pretty quick. Slowly but surely, the clip conformed to the body. And when we were getting really close, I switched over to the file to make fine adjustments. Once that was done, we switched over to the other side, using the same process of trimming and using the file to finish it off. With the big initial cuts made, and he planned to straighten up the fiberglass to the drip rail talked over, Charlie was out of time and had to leave. All right, only had Charlie for a couple hours, but he did help a ton. He is a lot better and more experienced at bugs than I am, obviously. It's not hard to do since this is my first bug. But he was able to help me out with getting some stuff done, and this is what we got so far. We went ahead and trimmed and retrimmed and stuff, so I think I got a pretty good line there. Just got to make these lines a little more there, and then I'm going to cut straight from that mark straight down to the end there, and see how it kind of is not straight at all. So that way I could get that straight, and when it goes on, it'll be nice and pretty. Same thing on the other side. There's not a whole lot of room over there, but let me see if I can get to it. Same story on this side. Need to come down just a skosh. Trim much more of this edge here. I think that'll help seat it a bit more. That line looks pretty good. I think I'm about as good as I'm going to be on that. I might try to get it a little closer just to do some trimming, things of that nature, but all in all, it looks pretty good. I'm actually quite pleased with it. Kind of like the double barrel kind of thing going on. That's pretty sweet. But anyway, but yeah, that looks really good. I am super happy with that. Got it fairly close to the drip rail, I guess that's what it's called. I just need to do a couple more trims there. That'll help that sit a little better. Then I'm going to put the Zeus fasteners here, maybe here, and then 3 more there, and then at the bottom. And then I'll figure something out up front to hold it down from the front as well. All right, up underneath, I got plenty of room. I got 2 fingers on each side. But yeah, so they're looking pretty good. I like that the front suspension fits underneath the stock molding. Most likely going to cut all this stuff off anyway, simply because there's going to be a winch up here, and then I need to build the front bumper. Once I get the bumper and all the cage work in here done, I'll put the pieces to hold the front of the clip down. But yeah, that's actually not too bad. I definitely maximized the space underneath the behind the dash and the footwell. I think I might build a tab off. If I keep this wing, it almost meets the chassis. If I could make like a little bracket that cups this all in and then comes out and just grabs that, that'd be pretty sweet. But yeah, so far so good. Yeah, I like the way that looks. It's going to look really, really nice when done. As soon as I get that straight line cut in, that'll be also as even as the top line, which is good. But yeah, I think that's it for the front clip. It's just a lot of putting it on, taking it off, putting it on, taking it off, and cutting. I think that the template idea I got from Nate and Sam, that was a good idea. Neither one of us, Charlie or I, had ever put on a front clip before, so we were kind of shooting in the dark, and that gave us some ideas. Hopefully this video, if anyone sees this in the future, if you're not sure how to put up one of these, this is the way we did it. Like I said, the first step was putting the sides against the drip rail, and then we cut with a template the upper part and trimmed it a couple of times until we got the thing we needed. I will say that the cutoff wheel and the flapper wheel, those 2 things, go right through the fiberglass, so be careful. You notice I cleaned everything up with a file, because even the file made some pretty good progress without much effort. So beware, take your time, cut little pieces, stuff of that nature. Now that I've got it, the top all set, this next thing was just the trim, just the little trims here and there, and make the straight line. But yeah, guess we'll keep going and see what happens. And with that, it was time to do the finish work, those fine trims that will bring it all together. I actually ended up drilling out some of the little points in the fiberglass where I had to come in and then make a sharp point out. I once got a pro tip that you never want to have a sharp point in a fiberglass piece. You always want to drill it out and then run the thing to it, so that little hole, that little round hole in the drill, will actually keep the fiberglass from like cracking and splitting apart in harsh terrain. I'm going to go with that. I don't know if it actually works or not, but it's easy insurance to make sure that my front clip actually stays together. And these things cost like $600+ now. And so, yeah, I don't want to replace it. So, yeah, I went ahead and I drilled it out and then made the cuts match up to those drill holes. As I said before, I used the file to finish off any trimming and make it smooth. Then the front clip was put back on and everything just checked yet again. And again, I marked a few new trim lines to get a good gap between the body panels. With that done, I set out to trim the sides so that they match up flat with the drip rail. To do this, I used tape to mark the line, sharpied in the line, and trimmed it with a flapper disc. Lastly, and again, I used the file to clean it up to make sure everything was straight. Since I made some adjustments to the little cut-in, I re-drilled the hole and made fine adjustments where needed. And that did it. Fiberglass front end really sucks up to the drip well, and then it goes really nice and has a nice even gap across the cowl. It looks about perfect to me. Not bad for a first timer. I will say, if you're looking to install one of these fiberglass front ends, I hope this video helps you, as I know sometimes there's not a whole lot of material out there. There's a lot of material, but not a lot of really in-depth material. Believe me, I've looked. Now, let me say, I'm not claiming that this is the right way to install a one-piece front end. This is only the way I did it. I am sure that there are many people out there with a lot more experience that can do a lot better job. But this only took me about 4 hours, and I'm going to call it a success. And so I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to say, if it seems like I'm stopping a little prematurely, I am. There are some interesting things afoot.
Bill, what? Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
And needless to say, I'm about to go into my version of Operation Warp Speed, but I'll get more into that in the next video. Either way, I hope that you found some value in this, if not just pure entertainment. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and a comment, and I will see you on the next video. I'm Damien. This is the Binder Builder.